Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my show. Actually, we don't even have a name for the show yet, but we're going to get a name for the show. Anyway, I'm Chef David from David's Culinary Catering here in Brick, New Jersey. And this is my cooking show. I want to welcome everybody. So everybody knows my phone number is 609-402-6281. My website is www.davidsculinarydelights.com. If anybody needs to get in touch with me, we do all types of catering on-site. Well, not so much on-site anymore, but we will be doing on-site soon. We'll do off-site catering. We do trays, family meals, family dinner packages, and so forth like that too. So tonight we got a great show. Okay, so we're going to be doing a cold cucumber soup. We're going to do a stuffed chicken breast with roasted peppers and spinach and fontina cheese. And we're going to do an apple cobbler. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're not doing apple cobbler. We're doing a peach cobbler, folks. Peach. Okay, so we're doing some things that are seasonal and some things that are kind of for the season. So the cucumber soup is nice and springy and for the season, and the peach cobbler is something that is in season. Although right now it is a little bit difficult to get. Excuse me. I was able to get some California peaches. So far, some of the stores don't have peaches yet from Georgia, although it is peach season now. So, hopefully the distribution will get us the peaches. And then, of course, New Jersey peaches will come a little bit later in the season. Okay, so you ready? Let's get started. So first we're going to start with dessert again. You guys know how I like to start with dessert. It takes a little bit of time to do dessert. So we're just going to get the food processor ready, and we're going to make the topping for the peach cobbler. All right, so we have some oats. This is kind of a healthier topping than some of the toppings. A lot of toppings are just flour and butter and sugar. So this is oats and brown sugar and some flour and butter. The butter has to be cold. It's very important that the butter stays cold because you really don't want the butter to kind of melt in it. You want it to stay lumpy so that when it forms that crust, you're going to have a lumpy crust and nice chunks of things. So we're going to add the flour, the sugar, and the oats. We're just going to turn that on and excuse me. Wow. Oh, we still got some lumps of brown sugar in there, so we don't want that. So as we got that going, there we go. Now we're going to get the butter. Okay, I got the butter nice and cold. So I already cut up a little bit. We'll put the butter in there. And like I said, we want to keep that lumpy so it forms a nice crust. We're going to pulse that a little bit. Right? And then you can see there's still lumps. There's big lumps. That's good. That's what we want. All right, so we're just going to move some of this stuff over. We'll move this out of the way, and we're going to get our peaches. So here we have our peaches. Okay, like I said, these are California peaches. They are, some of them are nice and ripe. They're soft, and it's important that we have ripe fruit. Okay, one way that we know if the fruit is ripe is when the pit comes out of the fruit easily, then we have the fruit is ripe. And sometimes the ripe fruit depends on how much sugar and so forth we use. So we're just going to add everything to it. So there's some brown sugar. It's a little bit of flour. All right, some lemon juice. This is triple sec. All right, a little bit of triple sec. And that's probably not in your recipe because I decided to put that in the last minute. Because, you know, I like to cook with alcohol. It gives good flavor. Not that I'm drink too much alcohol, but it gives good flavor. Now, this is cinnamon. And I added a little bit of cloves and a little bit of nutmeg to that. So we're going to just put all that in there, okay? And then we are going to just grab a spoon, and then we're just going to mix all this up. So make sure that the sugar gets all mixed up in there. Sometimes what you want to do, you want to make sure this gets all coated, right? And you can smell the nutmeg and the cinnamon and the cloves, right? Those three spices go very well with all of your orange fruit. So even when you go into the winter time and you have pumpkin and squash and so forth, those are the same spices that you use for that. It's just a matter of knowing how much spice and the quantity for each amount, okay? So this is our nice mix. Now what I like to do is I like to taste it. Even though it's got some flour, it's a little bit raw. It's nice. Just a little bit sweet from the sugar, but the peaches, the sweetness is going to come out. That's how you know if you have enough spice, number one. Number two, if there's enough sugar, okay? So we're just going to grab a pan. We're going to put the peaches in the pan. Now sometimes they tell you you got to butter the pan and stuff like that. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I'm just going without buttering it this time. There's not too much to scrape in there. So we have our peaches. It's all spread out nice. Then we're going to take our topping mix that we made, okay? And we're just going to sprinkle that over top, right? Nice. See how it's gotten, the butter is lumpy, right? You see the lumps of butter, and that's all going to melt and combine with the flour and the oats, and it's going to turn out to be delicious. Okay, so we got that, and we'll just pop this right in the oven. There we go. Put that right in the oven. Pretty sure it says 350. You can use other fruits. Someone's asking, can you use other fruits? Of course, you can use other fruits, but some of the other fruits, you're going to want to use some different spices. So, you know, again, with the orange fruit, you're going to use those spices of the nutmeg, the cinnamon, and the cloves and so forth. So you can change that around a little bit and use different spices. So you'd have to change the recipe around for different fruit. Okay, so now let's see. We have now, we're going to do the chicken. Okay, so let me just move some of this stuff out of the way because I got a little cramped here with space. I don't know why I did that, but you know, I did it. It happens, right? So let's see. We're going to bring the chicken over here. Okay. Now, we have to do the spinach for the, to stuff the chicken with. So what we're going to do is some onions, some garlic, and a little bit of white wine. Of course, salt and pepper, and the spinach. It's nice, fresh spinach. Okay, so we'll go over to the stove. We'll get that started. All right, so we'll just turn the heat up a little bit. And we use a little bit of oil. All right, put a little bit of oil in the pan. And then we just going to grab the onions and the garlic. And we'll put that in there. And actually, I think the recipe you have up there is for 1 tablespoon of onions. And I think that it should be a little bit more. So I added I think about 2 tablespoons and a little extra garlic because I like garlic. Garlic makes things taste good. So we're going to stir that up. And of course, we're going to season that as well, right? A little bit of salt and pepper. I left my pepper over here. You always want to season everything, right? I don't know. Some people call it layering. I just call it consistent seasoning. You just can't season one part of the product and then think that everything is going to get seasoned properly. So we're going to turn that up just a little bit, okay? And then so the onions start to cook a little bit, right? You want them to be a little bit translucent, right? Kind of like see-through almost, okay? Now I using a big pan. It's a little bit of spinach. It's 8 ounces of spinach, but you know, spinach is very big when it's not cooked. So it looks like it's a lot. So I want to make sure that it fits in the pan. So if you have a big pan, I suggest that you use a big pan, or you do it in batches. Do it in small batches, okay? Because the spinach is kind of big, so we're going to just add the spinach there. There you go. See how it's really it looks like a lot of spinach, but it's going to, you know, cook down, right? But it does fit in my pan. So if you don't have a big pan, I suggest doing it in batches. It'll make it easier for you, okay? And now again, we're going to season the spinach, right? Because we did the onions. Now we do the spinach. Beautiful, okay? A little bit of pepper. We want to give it a little bit of stir, okay? I don't know if you guys can hear. Can you hear a little sizzle? Sizzle, right? And now, really, what's going to make that spinach wilt is my white wine, which I have a little bit of white wine here. I don't know. It's a little sizzle again. Love to hear that sizzle, right? Now, with that wine is going to produce a little bit of steam, okay? And that's what's going to help cook that spinach down a little bit quicker. All right, so we want to cook that down. Okay, turn it up a little bit. We want this to wilt so that it is, here we go. Now we see how it practically cooks down to nothing. Spinach has a lot of water content in it, and that's why that happens, right? You just a lot of water in spinach, okay? So we flip that. We want it just like that. We're going to turn that off, and it'll continue cooking if you leave it in the pan. So we want to make sure that you take it out of the pan quickly like that. There we go. Very nice. Okay. So here's our spinach, and then we're going to get the other ingredients together. Now, we need the roast peppers. So what we do is we take red peppers, okay? Basically, I just put them in the oven. 350, 400. 400 is probably better. Now, if you have a gas stove, you can kind of roast it on a gas stove. But this is the color that you want it to look like, right? You want it a little bit, some of it a little bit black, and some of it just red, okay? Now, you're going to find a lot of people or a lot of recipes are going to say you got to salt it, you got to oil it, you got to cover it, you got to do that. You got to do all this other kind of, all this stuff. But the fact is that the skin's going to come right off. You're peeling the skin off of it. So all that oil and salt and pepper and everything you put on the skin, you're just taking it off. It doesn't penetrate through the skin, right? You just take it off. So it doesn't make any sense. And you see how easy that just came off, just like that? Okay, and then you take the seeds out like this, and then you've got your peppers. Now I got some peppers over here already cut up. I got to rinse my hands now because they're a little bit messy. So I'll just come over here, a little rinse of the hands, okay? Now, so those are the peppers, and this is what the peppers look like, okay? After I cut them up, you want to try and not have too many seeds in there. And then we're going to mix a little bit of garlic with the peppers, a little bit of garlic, right? And then some salt and pepper. Got my salt right here. A little bit of salt, And then reach over here again for my pepper. I should probably have pepper all over the place. I'm always using it, right? Only makes sense. And then a little bit of basil. All right, so I got the basils right here, keeping it cold so it stays fresh. So we're going to add some basil right to that. Beautiful. Get some basil, some garlic. That looks delicious. Now you could take this and add some olive oil to it, and then a little bit of pepper flakes and so forth, and then you just have a little bit of roasted red peppers, right? That comes out good. All right. So let's see. We have everything. We got spinach. We got the chicken. We got the roasted peppers. We got the cheese. So the chicken, right? So you want to get a nice breast of chicken, okay? A couple ways you can do this, okay? You can cut this, probably do it in half, okay, like that. And then you can take with a mallet, you can flatten it out a little bit because it's a little bit thick, okay? And then you want a little bit bigger. And I'm not going to do that because I got too much stuff here. It's going to bang it all up and move things around. So I happen to have some that's already pounded and ready to stuff. Okay, look at that. It's just like magic, right? Magic. Okay, so there we go. Let me rinse my hands real quick again, touching the chicken. All right. So we're going to season. We want to season both sides of the chicken. Okay. Sometimes I use white pepper, but I like to use black pepper in this. All right. So we're going to season the chicken. A little bit of salt and pepper. Right. And then use one hand. We'll turn it over. Right. And we're going to season the other side of the chicken. There we go. Very nice. Okay. So now we're going to take the spinach. We'll put the spinach in the middle. Okay. And you want to keep it in the middle because when we roll it, you don't want it to be oozing out the ends or anything like that. Right? There we go. We make that nice and even. And it's just enough spinach to do that. Right? Beautiful. And then we're going to take our roasted peppers. Take some roasted peppers and put some in the middle like that. Okay. Very nice. Now, of course, you can add more or less depending on what you like. And, you know, it said, the recipe calls for, I think, maybe one pepper. You got to be careful because the peppers are, you know, different sizes. So you want to just make sure you have enough when you roast it off. If you get two little ones, you use two little ones. See? Perfect, right? And we're going to take some cheese. This is fontina cheese. I like to use fontina cheese. It gives it a little bit of different flavor than, you know, your Italian, your regular mozzarella or your Parmesan or your Swiss, right? And it still melts nicely too. And I like to do things a little bit different than the normal anyway. So that's just me. We'll put a little bit of cheese. We'll fill that up with cheese. Very nice. Right, and we got some extra cheese there, so we're going to add that to the sauce we're going to make. I don't think I told anybody we're making sauce, but, you know, you can't have plain chicken. So we're going to put sauce on. Okay. And then what we do is we want to roll. We want to take the inside like that. The sides, tuck them in a little bit. I don't know if anybody, kind of just like rolling a burrito. Okay. And then you're going to look like that. Now, some people say, oh, you got to have a toothpick. You got to do this. You got to, sometimes, you don't have to have a toothpick all the time. You do things the right way, and everything's going to be cool. Certainly, someone asked if spicy peppers are okay. Of course, you like spicy peppers, you can put spicy peppers in there. If you like spicy pepper too, you can also add some pepper flakes. You can do that. You can, definitely do jalapeno peppers or serrano peppers, any type of peppers you like. But this is, roasted red or just a sweet pepper. So that's good. Yes, someone says sub for fontina cheese. You can use Swiss cheese. Like I said, if you want to use a mozzarella cheese, you can use mozzarella cheese as well. You can use almost any kind of cheese you like. You would like it to be a cheese that's going to melt well, though. You don't want a cheese that's not going to melt. So, and now let me just go get a pan. See, there's the first thing I forgot. I forgot to get the right size pan for the chicken. So we're going to just come over around the corner here. We'll grab a pan. And then we're going to take, I have a little bit of butter. We're just going to scrape some butter on here because you do have to have a little bit for the chicken. Okay. And then we're going to just put these 4 pieces here. See, they roll nice. Just like that. And we're just going to pop these right in the oven. All right, rinse the hands again. And here we go. We pop these in the oven. Beautiful. Okay, so we've got that going. We've got chicken going. We'll get rid of this real quick because I had chicken on it. So we don't want to cross-contaminate anything with chicken juice. And we can move this off to the side, move this out of the way. So now we're going to make a little bit of sauce. So we're going to come down here and grab a small pot. We have a pot, and then we're just going to put butter. I like to use butter when I make sauces. If you don't like butter, you can always use oil, things like that. So this is basically what we're going to do is we're going to make a basic velouté for the sauce. And then actually we have a little bit of cheese left over. So with that cheese left over, we're going to add that to the velouté. It kind of turns into a Mornay sauce. Okay. So to start that off with, we got onions. All right. We let the butter melt a little bit. Got onions and garlic. Okay. We turn it up just to melt the butter. So we're going to add the onions, garlic. Okay, and again with the salt and pepper. Always with the salt and pepper. Part of the reason we add salt and pepper in the beginning is it helps the vegetables sweat. It's just like if you take a little bit of salt, you people that drink tequila, you take a little shot of tequila, a little bit of salt and tequila and lime and everything. A little bit of salt on your tongue, and that makes you salivate. Well, it does the same thing with the vegetables. The vegetables kind of salivate. It releases the juices is what it does. So that's why it helps release the juices. And then you're going to cook that, let that cook down a little bit. Okay, so we've got that going. Beautiful. Now we're going to start with our soup, cucumber soup. Cucumbers, nice, refreshing, right? We'll get into the spring, summertime, so we want to make sure that we're nice and refreshed. It's a nice, refreshing soup. And I like to do soup. I used to make soup at a large hotel down in Palm Beach, Florida. And I used to have to make at least, I'd say close to 100 gallons of soup a day, depending on how the banquets were. I'd have to make like anywhere from 40 to 60 gallons of soup of the day. And then there was another soup, and then there was a cold soup. So I was easily making 100 gallons of soup every single day. And then banquets would want, 5 gallons of this, 6 gallons of that. So let me just check these onions real quick over here. That was a lot of work. We used to have big old machine called a VCM machine, vertical mixing machine. And we used to put everything in there, onions and carrots and celery and all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of ingredients, a lot of soup. That was fun though. Big old kettles. Sometimes, they play games and throw people in the kettle, right? It's always fun. So anyway, we're gonna start off making our soup. Luckily, I never actually got into the kettle. Okay, they couldn't get me in the kettle. Even though I'm short, all right, took 6 of them, and they still couldn't get me in the kettle. So kudos to me, right? We're gonna start with the cucumbers. It's about, I think, I don't know, what's it say, like 3 pounds of cucumbers. And we're gonna need a little bit of stock to add to that so that we can start pureeing that. So this is chicken stock that I use. Now you can use a vegetable stock, but you have to be careful. You want to make sure that your vegetable stock is a lighter stock, because cucumbers are very delicate, and you don't want to overpower the cucumbers with a vegetable stock. Sometimes a vegetable stock is very hearty, which is great when you're making a bean soup, or even a vegetarian a chowder of some sort. But so we just want to put a little bit in here and get some juice so we can puree that. There we go. Beautiful. All right, so we got that in there. So that was a couple of cucumbers. I peeled the cucumbers and I de-seeded the cucumbers. Right, we take the seeds out, and then I also have a little bit of extra cucumbers. I think the recipe tells you got to keep a little bit aside. That's for the garnish. I like to have really good. You're gonna have soup, right? You should have some garnish. Depending on what the soup is, you should always have a little bit of garnish. So here we're gonna have a garnish of red onions and cucumbers. So with that, we're gonna get, which I forgot now. Hold on a second. I gotta check this. The onions. The onions are doing good. I think we're gonna just add the white wine. So I don't know what I did with it. So we're just gonna have to make some here. We'll just add some that I got right here, some white wine. Again with the wine, right? Like I'm an alcoholic of some sort. I'm cooking with it. Don't worry. It evaporates. So it's not like anybody's gonna get drunk from the booze. The alcohol evaporates. So let me go grab a rubber spatula. Okay, because I thought I had one, but I didn't. Always forgetting to put something in its place. So here I'm going to take out a little bit of the cucumber to make room for everything else. Okay, so we got the cucumber, and then this is the yogurt. So we put some yogurt in there. Now I use the Greek yogurt, right? The difference that I find between the Greek yogurt is the thickness. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit like that. 10 cucumbers. You can make a hot cucumber soup, but it's a little bit different. It's not quite as good. You can, but people will look at you like you're crazy. You make a hot cucumber soup. So there's a little bit of yogurt there, and then here's some sour cream. I think I put too much sour cream in there. So we'll see. We'll taste it, right? That's the thing too. A little bit more garlic. There he goes with the garlic, this guy. Garlic and alcohol. What are you going to do? All right, but it's delicious. It's delicious. Okay, and I have a little bit of red wine vinegar. See, so we have that yogurt that's really thick, but I'm putting all these liquids in there, right? So that's why we like that. And there's a little bit of lemon juice that goes in there. And let's see, and then some onions. We put some red onions in there, right? And that's going to give it a little bit of a bite, but it's going to give it some body as well, right? Somebody asked if I was like the soup Nazi on Seinfeld. Well, to tell you the truth, I was working in a restaurant down in Summers Point, New Jersey, and my soups were so popular that the boss actually put up on the marquee, "The soup Nazi works here." So I guess you can say I'm, maybe I'm his cousin. I don't know. I think he was German, being a Nazi, and I'm Jewish. So maybe we're distant cousins somewhere. The soup Nazi. Give me a second. I'm gonna puree this. There we go. All right, there we go. I want to come over here. We're going to look at this. Now this looks good, right? See, these onions are translucent. Now we're going to add, so we'll make the sauce. We're going to add some flour so that it can, I'm going to add some, I got some bay leaves, thyme, and some peppercorns that I add to the velouté that I make, okay, for the chicken. The thyme is good for the chicken, right? It's a neutral and flavorful herb, right? And I use fresh whenever possible, right? Lately, there's been a lot of availability of fresh herbs, so I use fresh whenever possible. Some peppercorns I put in there. We're going to strain that out anyway, so it doesn't make much difference. And then we're going to add flour. Now, usually you add equal amounts flour to butter when you're going to make a roux. That's what we're making here, folks. We're making a roux, okay? And there we go, just a little bit more. Now, let me tell you again a little story about the soup Nazi business. My very first uh, beer dinner that I did, okay, at the restaurant, I made a beer and cheese soup, and it was so popular not only with the customers, the other customers. So we were having a private party with the beer soup, with the beer menu. So we put that up as the soup of the day, and there were so many people that were ordering it, and between that and the staff eating the soup, I barely had enough soup, and the owner of the restaurant did not get his soup that day. We had just enough to give to all the people that paid for the dinner, and the owner, he didn't get his soup. Can I tell you? Stuff happens. It's, so we're just going to turn that down. We want that to cook off just a little bit. We'll make a blonde roux. Okay, we'll come back here to our cucumber soup. Okay. We have some dill. Favorite drink to make? Someone asked me what my favorite drink to make is. Well, I know my favorite drink to drink is the Southern Comfort. I don't know about making drinks. Although you want to talk about making drinks, I did go to bartending school. And, I was with my mom, my parents at the time, and I told my mom, I'm going to bartending school. And my mother says, "You going to bartending school?" I says, "Yeah." She goes, "But you don't talk to people. How are you going to be a bartender if you don't talk to people?" I said, "Well, they'll talk to me. They're going to tell me what they want." She says, "Oh, okay." Needless to say, at that time, to get a bartending job, either someone had to die or quit. So no one died, nobody quit, never got the bartending job. But I do know how to bartend a little bit. Certainly know how to drink, right? Okay, so let's taste the soup. All right, because you always have to taste. Now, don't forget, I got a little bit over here. So, because this looks a little bit white, but you see, it looks good. See, the texture is nice. Let's see. It's delicious. And then, here we go again. Guess what this is? Yep. A little bit more alcohol. This is a little bit of cucumber vodka. It's actually very delicious. All right, we're gonna put some of that in there. We'll put spin on here again. Real quick, we'll just pulse it. Woo! Look at that. Very good. Okay. And then what we'll do, I'm gonna put it in a pitcher. And hopefully this pitcher is gonna hold everything. All right, we got all that in there. And then I'm gonna add the cucumber. Nice, look at that. No, look at that. Fits perfect. Woo! You see there's a little bit of, you see the dill in there, right? See, when you add that cucumber, now it's turning a little bit more green. You see, the actual soup is green, beautiful. And then now if you're gonna be serving this individually, okay, well actually, I'm gonna be serving this out front. Got a couple people at the chef table tonight. We put a little bit of diced onions in there, right? And then a little bit of the cucumbers, and that's a little tight. There we go. Look at that, beautiful. That is, it's a little bit too much, but that's what happens sometimes. We'll put that aside. We'll look at the we'll look at our sauce. Okay, so we're making a blonde roux. So you want to cook the flour just a little bit, but you don't want any color, right? So that's looking beautiful. Now we're going to take some chicken stock, right? Because we're doing this for chicken. And we'll just add some chicken stock to that. And you want to make sure you stir it up so it doesn't get any lumps. And then we'll stir it up nice. All right. Make sure that all the flour incorporates into the stock. Yeah, this is sometimes why things take time. You have to pay attention. You have to nourish your food. You got to talk to your food. You know, people say, what do you mean you talk to your food? Well, people talk to their plants, right? They say whatever they say to their plants. You know, when I'm growing vegetables, I go out and I look at my vegetable plants all the time, every day, once, twice a day, right? I want to check on them and make sure they're doing good, kind of like your kids. You know, when your kids are sleeping, what do? You go and you look at them while they're sleeping before you go to bed. What is that, right? It's the same difference. You're checking on them. It's love, right? So we want to stir this up, and you can see how it's starting to thicken just a little bit. And oh, it looks good. Looks good. All right, so chicken stock that has already salt and pepper and everything in it. So we're going to just let that be a little bit. We turn it down. We don't want it to come up too fast. Okay, if it comes up too fast, you're going to be lumpy. It's another thing. You got to be patient. All right. I don't know. I could have been a doctor, but between going to 97 years of school, which I couldn't handle, I've got no patience. So I'd fail at being a doctor. Okay, but you got to nurture your soup. You talk to it. You look at it. You make sure it looks good. You smell, little smell-o-vision. Can we get these cameras to smell through the airwaves? I don't know. But okay, so we got that working. We got that working. And then I don't know. Does alcohol cook off? Does the alcohol cook off the soup? Yeah. No. It's cold soup. We didn't cook the soup. So the alcohol's in the soup. So don't put the alcohol in the soup if you're going to serve to the kids. Okay. But a little bit. Can you use cucumber? I did use cucumber vodka. Yeah, someone asked, can you use cucumber vodka? That's what I put in, was cucumber vodka. Now, also, depending on how nice of a party that you're having, you can also put a little bit. I don't want to say a whole shot, but you can put a little bit of cucumber vodka right in the each cup. So actually what you can do is you can take a little bit of sour cream, right? A little bit of vodka and a little bit of dill. You mix all that up and put a dollop right on top of the soup. So you put the soup in the cup, little dollop of that, and then that's going to mix in, and then you're going to get that cucumber vodka right in there. That would be delicious. Very good. Okay, so let's just take a peek in the oven, make sure everything is cooking properly, right? Chicken looks good. Peach cobbler's looking good. Now we're looking at our sauce. Okay, I think we need to put a little bit more stock in there. I was getting a little too thick. We'll put all that stock in there. Okay. All right, here we go. So we add that, and then we're going to let that cook. You got to let that cook at least another half an hour. I know we don't have a half an hour, but we have some made. I cheated. Don't tell anybody. Okay. So what we're also going to do, we're also going to do some asparagus. I think last week we did asparagus soup, right? So now you notice this week the asparagus is a little bit bigger, right? Alternative to sour cream. Well, you can use yogurt. Otherwise, you could use heavy cream if you wanted to, but we're looking more of a lighter, healthier thing. But you can certainly use heavy cream if you wanted to do that instead of the sour cream. Okay, so the asparagus, now the asparagus has come up thick, right? Because in the beginning of the asparagus season, you get all the thin ones, all the thin pieces coming up. The thicker ones take a little bit of time. So closer to the end of the season, which, the end of May is kind of the end of asparagus season. So we're almost halfway through. It's coming up a little bit thicker. And also, you notice that I peeled the asparagus, okay, because the skin gets tough. Remember last week I told you about the woodiness when you're cutting the ends off. You want to cut it off until you get to where it's not too hard. Therefore, it's not woody, right? So the skin is a little bit tough. Now, how do you cook asparagus? I don't know if you can tell, but you see this asparagus, right? The tips are not cooked at all because they're very delicate. So how you cook asparagus properly, okay, is you take your asparagus and you find a pot, okay? Put the water in the pot, bring your water to a boil, and put your asparagus in like this. So only the bottoms get into the water, okay? And then only the bottoms cook. So if you come up to here with the water, that's fine because there's going to be a little bit of steam and everything that's going to come up, and cook it just a little bit. So now we're going to saute the asparagus, okay? And then the tips won't be mushy or overcooked. They'll be nice and al dente. So let's get a pan to do that. And now see, you got to look at just our sauce here. Our sauce is simmering around the edges, right? Nice simmer, about 180 degrees. It bubbles around the edge, right? There we go. Tell you what, we're just going to move that over here a little bit. Put this over here. Make some adjustments. Okay. And we take some butter. I like to use butter, right, for the asparagus. I've got some butter over here. We'll put some butter in the pan. We're going to let that melt. Let's bring everything else over here. So I got butter. We're going to do a little bit of garlic. We're going to do a little bit of lemon juice. Yeah, a little bit of white wine too. Makes it delicious. Again, it cooks off though. Don't worry about it. Right, and then also I use a little bit of a spice called marjoram for asparagus. It's a little bit different, but it goes well with asparagus. So we're just going to melt that butter down. We're going to add the garlic. All right, so we got the garlic going, a little bit of butter. And while we're swirling that around, all right, you just want that to get a little bit, the garlic just a little bit. You don't want the garlic to brown, right? So you're going to turn that down. You see it's bubbling like that, nice. We'll put a little bit of salt and pepper on the garlic, right? And then to stop it from cooking, we add a little bit of lemon juice, right? And then we're going to add that wine, right? Right, we're going to stir this up. This is what I mean by loving your food. You look at it, you keep a stir on it. You look, you see the shine. See how it's starting to shine up there? That's a little bit of the butter, but that's also cooking the flour out properly. If your flour doesn't get cooked out properly, you're not going to get a good shine. And the good shine is very nice for your presentation. It doesn't do much for taste, which is what I'm all about, is taste, but it's good for when you get a nice plate, you get a chicken and you get sauce on top of that. You get a nice shine on your looking at you. You can it's almost like a mirror. You look at your food and it's looking back at you. So that's nice. And no, we're not talking about animal heads or fish heads looking back at you. That's just plain silly, right? So we have that going. And then we're just going to take our asparagus. We're just going to add right to the pan. Right? There's a little bit of water, you can do that. Okay. So we have that going. And then we're going to take a little bit of salt and pepper with the asparagus. All right, a little salt, a little bit of pepper. Okay, and then we'll take a little bit of that marjoram that I like. All right, and we're watching our sauce simmering nicely. I wish you guys can come over and smell some of this stuff. Got all these flavors coming at me. Right, we got the chicken, the thyme, right, the garlic from the asparagus. Right, and the chicken is cooking in the oven below. So you just want to stir this up, right? Because you got the wine is cooking out, the lemon juice is in there, and a little bit of garlic, right? And the asparagus is all blanched off. So all we're doing is getting this hot, right? We don't need to cook it. It's already blanched, right? Part cooked. Okay, so by the time it gets hot, it's fully cooked. Okay, and you see the tips. The tips are still nice and firm. Okay, so once they get hot, they're done. All right, so we'll keep that like that. Take a quick look. And we got our chicken. So we'll just put the chicken down. See the chicken? A little bit of cheese came out the sides, but that's okay. Not too much. That looks beautiful just like that. And I just want to grab this over here and put this back in the oven too. All right, because we got some people that we're going to feed. And we'll take a quick look at a peach cobbler, right? Huh? Looks nice. Look at that. You see that? Beautiful. See over here where it's bubbling up? All right, it's almost done. It's starting to brown here. So we're good. We're doing really good with that. We'll just turn it and we can smell that. Ooh, the sugar and the spices. Oh my goodness. Delicious. Very good. Okay. So now with most meats and so forth, you want to let them rest before you serve, right? Because you want to let all the flavors come back. You know, there's heat that's, you know, just like you go outside, you know, in the summertime and it's really hot, right? What do? You start to sweat. You know, the juices within you start to pour out. Same thing with the food. And then when you go inside the house and you cool down a little bit, what happens? You stop sweating. All that stuff comes back inside your body. Okay. Same thing with food. We're not so different than food when it comes to a lot of different things, right? So we have that. We have that. What we'll do is I'm going to get a little spatula to pick those up with, and then we're going to cut them in. We're going to cut them so that we can see what they look like inside. Right, the nice and spiral. I guess I have to use my big spatula. I can't find the little spatula. So move this over like this. This one looks nice, right? We'll cut that one. We'll move this over right here. We'll still give it a minute. We're going to look at the sauce, right? Because we said something about the sauce before and the extra cheese, right? We're going to put the extra cheese in the sauce, right? For those people that are cheese lovers, I'm a cheese lover. I love cheese, right? We're going to put the cheese in the sauce. And that asparagus, that looks about done, right? I can tell just by looking. But then what you do is you look at the tips. You see how the tips have turned bright green? Okay, that's how you know they're done. Tips turn bright green, they're done. All right, I'm going to go get a platter and put that on. Okay, so got a couple platters here. Anybody have any questions? We're coming to an end soon. I'm putting all the stuff together. Anybody have any questions about what we've been doing so far this evening? Maybe something you might want to see next time or anything of that nature? Oh, look, I put myself in the way here. Okay, so we're just going to plate this asparagus up. We'll put all that nice garlic and juice left on there. Now, what you can also do is, since I actually do have a little bit of roasted pepper, right, because I used the other, so if you have a little extra, we can always take some roasted pepper, right, dice it up, and we're going to put that right on top of the asparagus. We're going to add a little bit of color to it, right? It's Christmas colors, right? Green and red, okay? Yeah, be careful doing what I'm doing with the knife, right? I don't want to see anybody get cut. Okay, lava cake. Yeah, we can do a lava cake. Lava cake is delicious. I do a lot of lava cake for when I do a dinner for two, right? A lot of times I do anniversaries, birthday dinners. Someone hires me. I go out to the house and I'll prepare a dinner for two, fresh at the house. Okay, I buy all the ingredients. I bring all my own pots and pans with me, just like you see here. I prepare everything fresh at the house, and chocolate lava cake is one of the most popular desserts that I do. Sometimes we put some ice cream with it. Sometimes we put some whipped cream with it. It all depends on what the customer wants, because that's what I'm about, is satisfying the customers. Okay, so here's the asparagus. Now let's take a quick look here. Oysters. Sure, there's a bunch of recipes we can do with oysters. I mean, there's regular half shell with like a minuet sauce, or there's a few other different little sauces that you can use. We can do an oysters Rockefeller. Um, you do fried oysters, a little bit of cornmeal stuff. So there's a few different recipes we can do with oysters. Yeah, we do plan on doing a chef table every week. We're going to have people that are going to come, and hopefully when this pandemic stuff all eases down a little bit, we'll be able to have maybe a few more people. Right now we just have a couple people tonight. Okay, so let me just show you what this looks like here. Just cut this down. All right. Let me just go grab the platter. We're going to put that on. So we're going to put this on the platter. Right. All right, and see we have it in the middle like that. It's beautiful. We'll get some more. We'll just cut the rest of this up. So we have people going to be eating. It's nice and warm. We'll get the sauce ready. All right, so what we do with the sauce, we can take the cheese. We add the cheese to the sauce. The sauce is about ready. All right, so we just add that to it. And this is a good cheese, right? Because of the fontina, it melts. So it melts nice and creamy. It blends right in. Look, nice. Look, and you, a little bit of thyme is in there. You get the chicken flavor, and then that cheese melts right in there. It's going to be delicious. These people are going to love it. They're not going to know what to do with themselves. It's delicious. Okay. And seafood, well, we can do more seafood. We did seafood last week. Actually, we did a salmon dish once. Soon, yeah. Um, if anybody has anything specific, well, someone mentioned oysters, so certainly we can do oysters, and then I'll come up with something else. I'll see what we can get that's available. Due to the pandemic, there's some problems getting some things again, you know. So we're just going to put this on the plate. Can someone ask, can this be ordered? This chicken? Yeah, just give me a call, shoot me an email, and I'll certainly make it for you. All right, so we're going to come over here. I'm going to get the sauce that we already have made up, right? I'm going to show you. We're going to come over here. See, look at that. It's nice and velvety. All right, that's what we want, is nice and velvety. Okay. And we're going to sauce this up nice. Just move this out of the way a little bit. Okay. Put some sauce on here. Right. And just put a little fresh herbs on top of that. And we're all set to go. Beautiful. And let's see. I think, oh, let's take a look at that cobbler. Right. We'll put this over here for a moment. We'll take out that cobbler because I think that cobbler's just about done. Beautiful. Look, see that? See? It's bubbling, right? We got a little bit of brown on the outside. And it smells delicious. With all the seasons that I put on it, the spices, the cinnamon, the nutmeg. Oh, it's delicious. See, we got the little bubbles, and it's good. And let's just double check to make sure that the peaches are done. Right, you just want to poke it a little bit, make sure that they're nice and soft, and they are. Right, look at that, beautiful. Okay, so this is our meal for tonight. Again, if anybody has any questions, any other comments that you want to say, or want me to answer, I'm Chef David from David's Culinary Catering here in Brick, New Jersey. And what kind of herbs do you use? What kind of herbs do I use for what? Oh, to put on top? Yeah, I put some fresh thyme on top. Okay. Um, and I also use a little bit. I forgot to mention. I put a little bit of fresh tarragon in the cucumber soup in the end. I would just put a little bit on top like that. And I think that just about wraps it up. Again, any questions, comments, you can, can't you think of something later, feel free to call 609-402-6281. Shoot an email, david@davidsculinarydelights.com. And the website is www.davidsculinarydelights.com. Facebook is Facebook David's Culinary Catering. And, there's anything you wanted to know. If anybody's got anything coming up that they want me to, help them with, please feel free to give me a call. And I think that about wraps it up. So we had asparagus, stuffed chicken, cucumber soup,